I'm Matt Clare from the Center for Teaching, Learning, and Education Technologies at Brock University.
And I'm Julia Forsyth.
I wanted to take my colleague Julie here to the Gradebook in Isaak. So I've already added it here by going to Site Info, Edit Tools. So here's my empty gradebook. Now if I wanted to add a gradebook item for students to get their grades sent to them both securely and privately through Sakai Isaac, I can click on Add Gradebook Items. Now let's add something like midterm. So that's the title, and then we need to enter a gradebook item point value. In most cases, the midterm's out of 100, so let's assume that. So that's our gradebook item point value. I could also add the due date, but I don't think it's important right now. And if I click Add Items, that will go inside the gradebook right there. But there's these two checkboxes that are pre-checked for us. Release this item to students and include this item in course grade calculations. I don't know about you, but I prefer to uncheck release this item to students.
I think I'd like to wait.
Yeah, and then you can go and check that it's all correct, and then when you're ready, press release and they all see it at the same time.
That's a good idea.
So let's hit Add Items. And here's our midterm inside the gradebook items view of the gradebook. If I click on the title and scroll down, I can see the names of all the students the registrar has added for me. And I can put in the points for their grade. So let's add those in. And if I hit Save Changes, they're now recorded.
Great.
And it also creates a log of who entered that grade and when. So if there is a change made to the grade, so let's increase Lindsay's grade here, and hit Save. The log gets updated.
So it recorded everything that's been changed and who did it. That's excellent.
There's no undo, but at least you can figure out what happens.
Right.
Also on the right, there's an Edit Comments option. This allows you to throw in a comment with your actual grade so students get some feedback. Remember in WebCT, we had a comment option too. That was only visible by instructors. Important to note that students can also see this.
This is excellent though, so we can give very specific feedback based on what we're trying to put into the grades.
Precisely. So let's add another item. What's a good one we could use?
Perhaps we should do the final exam.
Sounds good. So I'll click on Gradebook Items and click Add Gradebook Items again. And we'll call this Final Exam. What's it out of?
It should be out of 100 too.
Okay. No need for a due date, and let's not release it yet.
No. No, all grades that are entered are unofficial, right?
Precisely.
But even so, we should wait to make sure. Okay.
So we've got our two items there. We can click on Final Exam and key in the grades. A Gradebook Items view gives you a per item view of all the students. So I can put in a grade.
It was a bit harder this time.
Indeed. Now let's save. Now it's recorded. If I'm ready to release this item to students, I can get back into that previous view through this Edit Gradebook Item Settings option. And if I check off Release this item to students now, they'll be able to see it, and I can include this in the course grade calculations.
That's great, Matt. What if I want to use it for all my assessment? Also for participation?
Excellent. So let's add a couple more items. So go back to the Gradebook Items. And what do you like to score your participation out of?
I usually give them a mark out of 10.
Okay. So we'll call it Partic and put it out of 10. And we'll say it's ready to release right now. So that one's out of 10. You can see on the Gradebook Items list here what's released to students and what isn't.
Right.
And even an average for them that only the instructor can see. Anything else we should be adding?
What about the essay?
Oh, let's add that too. Now, do you have a rubric for the essay?
I do.
And does it go up to a nice even 100, or does it go to something smaller?
It's out of 4.
4. Okay. Let's score that too. And we won't release it yet. So we've got that all set up. I have a feeling though that if you have an essay out of 4, that may be something you're looking to weight in the final grade, am I right?
Absolutely. Can it do that?
It can definitely do that. Saves you having to know any mathematical formulas to break it all down out of 100. It's going to handle that for you.
Okay.
So if we go into the Gradebook Setup, we can either turn on categories to say these are my participation grades, these are my quizzes, but in this case we want to turn on both categories and weighting. And we want to add things like the essay. So we marked the essay out 4, but what's it weighted out for the final grade?
It's worth 20%.
20%. So we'll put 20 in the percent area here. Add another category, add one for the midterm.
That was worth 30.
And the final exam.
That's also worth 30.
And can I infer that's 20% left for the participation?
That's right.
It won't let you leave the screen until it adds up to 100.
If I change my mind, can I reorganize this later?
You can definitely come back and change that.
I might want to do a rough draft for the essay, and I could do that later.
Certainly, as long as it matches what's on the course outline, the technical implementation isn't as important as you keep making sure it's what's outlined.
Okay, well, let's leave this for now. I think I'm going to have a really participatory course, so 20% is reasonable.
Let's save. And if we go back to gradebook items, you'll notice we have all our items down in this new unassigned category, and then we've got our 4 categories with their weight above that.
Wow.
So the trick now is just put them in the correct category.
So the ones that are bold are the categories,
Mm-hmm.
and the ones that are links are the actual items.
And underlined, exactly. So if I go into the actual item for essay and edit it, I've got this new field here for category. I'm going to say it's in the essay category.
Can I also change the item point value while I'm there? Maybe
Sure.
to get a 40. That was a bit silly. I was thinking of levels.
And I'll just go through and put final exam and final exam. And midterm and midterm. And participation, abbreviated, and it's abbreviated category. So now it's all set up to handle doing that weighting for you. You don't have to worry about it, and you don't have to mark things that have strange numbers, like having something marked out 20, which is often awkward. You don't have to be raw points. You can just, whatever feels best for marking on your side, it will do the weighting for you. This is the gradebook items view, as I was mentioning earlier. This is where you can click on one item, again those links, not the bold ones with no underline, but the actual links and put in grades. The other way to enter grades is through the all grades view. This is where I go to list all my students the registrar was added. And if I click on individual students, I see all of their items, and of course their categories too. I can make the changes here. And again, there's a log. All grades also shows to the instructor the course grade a student's getting in that course based on what's been released to the student yet. You can't calculate the final grade based on anything that is not released to students yet.
So the course grade, so I would have to release everything first, and then they would be able to see the course grade, and I would too.
Exactly.
Calculate it properly. Okay.
Although there's one more step to make it release to students in the course grade setting. That's when you actually have to flip that switch. But as an instructor myself, I prefer to have the course grade calculated by Sakai, and then submit that to the registrar, and then the registrar releases the final mark to the student.
Which will be the official mark, which it comes from the registrar.
Precisely.
Okay. That's great, Matt. What if I wanted to share all this marking workload with my TA, Jill?
That makes a lot of sense. Now we've gone through and set up categories, because you need to set up at least one category for this to work. Often I suggest instructors just make a category called grades.
And then put everything in that one category?
You don't even have to do that step, but it would make sense. As long as there's categories, you're good to go. That gives you this permission settings view.
Okay.
So click on that. Over on the left here is a list of all my TAs, which is just Jill, your TA.
Yep.
And we're going to add a rule for her. So right now, it's saying we can let her view all categories. Let's make it she can grade all categories.
And if I wanted to be specific, that she could only grade the essay, for example, I could change that. But I think I'm going to let her do all for now, so she can help me out. We split the course up, so.
Makes a lot of sense. And it's worth noting too that she can only enter grades into items that the instructor's already created. That also gives the instructor control of when things are going to be released.
Okay.
So there's a few more options in Gradebook. They're best explored as you're ready, and you're always welcome to contact CTLT for support. It's worth noting though that items that are coming from other tools inside Sakai Isaak, like the assignments tool, or graded forum topic, or tests and quizzes, they show up in the Gradebook and you can categorize them there, but you can only modify those marks back in the original tool.
Oh, that's great. Actually, I'd like to go see that at another time.
Certainly. We'll look at the test and quizzes and assignments tool later on.
Okay.
Last thing I want to share, because I don't know if you're the kind of person that prefers to work on the web or Microsoft Excel, but if you are interested, there's an import grades option. Lets you download spreadsheet templates, open in Excel, make your changes, import it back up to
Oh, that's
Sky.
great, because I like to do lots of extra statistics that only Excel can really handle.
There you go. So that's a look at the gradebook. Hopefully it's enough to get you interested in using it for your course. Remember, it's a secure and private way to distribute grades, which is really important when working online. More information about Sakai and Isaac can be found at the CTLET website at www.brockey.ca/CTLET.